They should have been sleeping safely that night. But by morning, 5 children were gone, their home reduced to ashes. Kidnapping, a cover-up, or something far more sinister. On Christmas Eve, 1945, a fire tore through the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder, hard-working Italian immigrants, lived in a cozy wooden house with their 10 children. The home was filled with laughter, the smell of holiday cooking, and the excitement of presents waiting to be opened. But that festive atmosphere would soon shatter into a chilling, lifelong nightmare. Around midnight, the phone rang. Jenny answered, but the line was silent except for the faint, strange sound of clinking glasses in the background. She dismissed it as a wrong number and went back to sleep, completely unaware that in just a few hours, her world would be torn apart. Not long after, she was jolted awake by the smell of smoke. The house was on fire. Panic erupted. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children scrambled out into the cold night air, escaping the rapidly spreading flames. But 5 of their younger children, Maurice, Martha, Lise, Jenny, and Betty, were trapped upstairs. They never made it out. The house burned with shocking speed, collapsing into a heap of smoldering ash before firefighters could even arrive. In the aftermath, death certificates were issued for the 5 missing children, assuming they had perished in the blaze. But a disturbing fact soon emerged. No recognizable remains were ever found in the debris. Not a single bone, not a single tooth. Witnesses didn't recall the smell of burning flesh, which is common in fatal fires. The family even conducted their own experiments, burning animal bones to see what would be left. Their conclusion was haunting. Something about this fire just didn't add up. How could 5 children vanish without a trace from a burning house? This question would haunt the Sodder family and the world for decades to come. As the smoke cleared, a series of bizarre and unsettling anomalies began to surface, suggesting this was no ordinary accident. The family's ladder, which they always kept propped against the side of the house, was inexplicably missing when George tried to use it to reach the children's second-story windows. It was later discovered thrown in an embankment far from the house. Even more suspiciously, both of the family's trucks, which were working perfectly just hours earlier, refused to start. This prevented them from driving up to the house to use as a platform for a rescue or to fetch water. And the phone line. Investigators found it hadn't been burned through by the fire. It had been deliberately cut. It was as if someone had systematically disabled every possible means of escape or rescue. Over the years, the mystery deepened. Eyewitnesses came forward with chilling claims. One woman said she saw the children peering from a passing car while the fire was still burning. A waitress in a town 50 miles away swore she served breakfast to the children the next morning, accompanied by 2 men and 2 women of Italian descent. Even a strange, green rubber bowl, not belonging to the family, was found near the property, suggesting someone else had been there. Fire experts who reviewed the case noted that a typical house fire, even a very hot one, would likely not have been hot enough to completely cremate 5 human bodies, leaving absolutely no trace. The few bone fragments that were eventually recovered years later were analyzed by the Smithsonian Institution, which concluded they were not from the missing children. All these strange details pointed to a horrifying possibility. The fire wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up. So, what could have happened? One of the most prominent theories revolves around George Sodder's past. He was a vocal critic of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini and had gotten into heated arguments with other members of the local Italian-American community who held different political views. Before the fire, George reported receiving threats. An insurance salesman, angry that George wouldn't buy a policy from him, warned, "Your goddamn house is going up in smoke, and your children are going to be destroyed." Another visitor allegedly told him he'd pay for his dirty remarks about Mussolini. Could the fire have been an act of revenge by fascist sympathizers, or even the mafia? Many believe the children were kidnapped right before the fire was set. This would explain the missing ladder, the disabled trucks, and the cut phone line, all tactics to ensure the parents couldn't intervene while the abduction took place. The fire itself would have been the perfect distraction, a brutal and effective way to make it look like the children had died. This theory suggests they were taken away to be raised under new identities, perhaps even sent back to Italy. On the other hand, The official investigation concluded the fire was accidental, caused by faulty wiring. Despite the overwhelming number of suspicious circumstances, no one was ever charged with a crime. Law enforcement at the time was criticized for a slow and incomplete investigation. They waited hours to even begin searching the rubble, and bulldozed the site just a few days later, potentially destroying crucial evidence. For the rest of their lives, George and Jenny Sodder never gave up hope. They refused to believe their children were dead. They hired private investigators and spent their life savings searching for answers. In 1952, they erected a large, haunting billboard along a nearby highway. It displayed the pictures of their 5 missing children, offering a substantial reward for any information leading to their recovery. 20 years after the fire, a shocking piece of mail arrived. It was postmarked from Kentucky and had no return address. Inside was a photograph of a young man in his mid-20s who bore a striking resemblance to their son Louis. On the back of the photo was a cryptic message. The Sodders hired another private investigator to look into the lead, but he vanished without a trace, and they never heard from him again. The Sodder Children Mystery has captivated and horrified people for over 80 years. It's a chilling puzzle of missing children, a suspicious fire, and a web of potential conspiracies. Did the children tragically perish that night, their remains destroyed by a bizarrely intense fire? Or were they stolen away, victims of a sinister plot, forced to live out their lives under new names, forever separated from their family? George and Jenny Sodder passed away without ever knowing the truth. They never rebuilt their home. Instead, they transformed the scarred property into a beautiful memorial garden to honor their lost children. The billboard they put up still stands in Fayetteville, its faded photographs a constant, heartbreaking reminder of the 5 young lives that vanished on that terrible Christmas Eve. The story endures because it touches on our deepest fears and our most profound need for answers, leaving us all to wonder what really happened to the Sodder children. Thanks for watching. If you found this mystery as compelling as we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that will make you question everything.